Good afternoon. This is Dee with Critical Break. I'm back again. I told you I would be, or I would try. um, Let me get my chat room. Chat room. We'll get that going. Just give me a second here. Hope you had a nice break. I did. Enjoyed a little bit of food. And then I delved into digging up my information that I have on the past contacts I've had. Revisiting some memories. Some quite interesting, but let me get my thing pulled up here. I'll get it figured out. I think it's, here we go. Yay. Got my chat room. My Sky. Hey. How's it going? Good to see you. Popping out the chat. Okay. Alrighty. So, right now I want to get my chat room back up here. Oh, there we go. Whee! Sir OR. Excellent to see you too, sir. Sir Steve, Sir Tony. Oh, you guys are so amazing. I'm so glad you guys could make it. Been having some frank discussions with everyone. Some of you managed to catch the last one. Just talking frankly about experiences and things going on. During the last live stream, I was talking about the huge uptick in military here, as far as planes flying over my house, and I'm not kidding, over my house. At 12:39, just after the stream, it happened again. And I took my cell camera out because I heard one go over, and I could hear more coming. Okay? So I ran out the door with this because I wanted to get it on film. You know how it is trying to film with these in the sunlight. You can't see what you're filming, much less what button you pushed or didn't push. I did not capture it. I thought I did. Got it inside, nothing there. And I'm like, I'm so aggravated. Anyway, I was so busy trying to film the planes, I didn't get a really good long look at what I was looking at. But at a glance, what I saw looked like an A-10. Okay? Like I said, I flew small aircraft. I'm very aware of the rules of the sky and what the military can and can't do or supposed to. And at 12:39, I had at least 3 planes go over. And I mean, they were low, like helicopter low, like our life flight low. They were traveling in that space. And they literally, not joking, right over here, right, over my place. And that was at 12:39, right after the stream. I'm going to keep trying to capture them. Anyway, we've had a huge uptick in military here. Unprecedented amount. Like I said, small air traffic here. That's it. Life flight helicopter. That's it. And I don't know what's going on. I really couldn't tell you. And there's been sonic booms reported. I've heard them myself. on multiple occasions. Google it. If you don't believe what I'm saying, Google it. Google Missouri sonic booms, and you're going to see all the reports. There's multiple dates. Okay. I just want it documented. I will try to capture them. I do have them captured at night, after midnight. The sound, you couldn't see anything because it's, pitch dark out. But you could hear it. I've got that on video. Anyway, I just wanted to let you guys know that happened right after my stream. Interesting, right? Okay. Documenting. Another thing, I wanted to make sure that you all knew that I always put Christian Truth, her link below my videos. And I had forgotten to mention that in her videos, underneath in the description, under some of those, there may be, you can contact her via, I think she said she thought she had put her phone number there. So any of you that have the MTHFR that are looking for some help in that direction and need, she does supplements, okay? Not pharmaceuticals, supplements. Because many of us are very allergic to pharmaceuticals, especially the newer stuff. So keep that in mind. She knows her stuff. So that link is always under my videos. Let's see, what else? Yeah, it is a bit creepy, isn't it, Sir Tony? Maybe I'm rattling some nerves. I hope so. They need it. They need rattled. You looked at the David Icke link, and what did you assess from that? Any initial impressions? Like I said, when I first saw him, I was like, what's this guy talking about? He's gone through some stages where he's been wrong. But with that particular lecture that he gave, he's dead on. So I do recommend, some of these channels, like I said, they're just like me. There's the information we're getting. If it's all the same, it's like one of those puzzle pieces locking into place. Okay. And I think he's on the right track for sure. Hi, Miss Angel. Good to see you. Anyway, so yeah, military aircraft over my house yet again. Just a little while ago. 12:30. Well, it's been a while now, but it was 12:39. I looked at the clock. Remember, I've been very, very good about looking at the clock when stuff goes down. I've been trying to do that. Yeah. Yes. Like I said, he's another piece. He's another one of those pieces of the puzzle. So are you. You all are. Oh, and I forgot to mention, Sir Tony, I didn't see your comment during not the last live stream, the one prior, where I mentioned the I'm going to call it a dream, but it's me remembering what's going on astrally, is the best way I can put it, because it's not a dream. The team I went with in that cave to take out some of the nasty negatives, you know, I went to meet you to talk to you about that. I'm wondering, have you had any memories of any sort regarding that cave at all? If not, that's great. But I went in there with a team, and I don't normally have what I call a physical team with me. So, yeah, I need to talk to you more about that. Okay? If we get a chance, connect, yak. We're going to do a Google Hangout or something, okay? Anyway, yeah, it was a team, and we were taking out some nasty stuff. Some of those pockets of the nasty I'm talking about. Yeah, I talked to you about the underground. Yeah, exactly. All right, so we have some of us are very connected in ways beyond what we probably even are aware of. So that's one of those cases right there. And I think some of you guys, as you guys start piling into the chat room and talking, some of you may even recognize each other. And I won't get into why that would be right now, but except for the fact that I think, you know, I've mentioned in other videos, the soul contracts are over, null, void. We won. We've been here, or some of you have been here over and over and over again. So that's why some people, when you meet them, you get this weird feeling you've known them all your life. It's probably because of that. Okay, so I got those out of the way. Those were important pieces. The Christian truth, making sure if you need any sort of supplement, she can really help you target what that is. She's going to carry them because, let's face it, on the supplement market, it's just like the pharmaceutical market, as far as there's some out there that don't work as good as others and the quality's not as good. She susses all that out for you, so you don't have to do it. And whatever her price is, I guarantee you it's more than within reason as far as any cost involved with supplements or anything like that. So I would definitely seek her out for things of that nature, because you'll get quality. And oh, my eye's itching, sorry. I have bought bulk dry supplements myself, and there is a difference in quality between them. And sometimes you even get stuff that you question whether that's exactly what it really is or not, or is it just chewed up cardboard? So to eliminate that issue, if you go through her, she's already done that footwork, so you don't have to worry about getting ick. So there's that. She's a very good teacher, and she's very patient. So and then that chat, you know, I read it after the stream, and I'm like, oh darn, you know, because I needed to talk to you about that. Anyway, this stream, now I got all that stuff, the military things going on out of the way, is about the contacts I have had personally with ETs, angels, demons, interdimensionals, extra dimensionals, which is going to be outside of the holodeck. And the holodeck is multi-dimensional, so that's why I call some of them interdimensionals, because they're inside the holodeck. Okay. When I was during the last stream, I was trying to remember back when the first contact. Hello, Sir Scrappy. Oh my goodness. That is trauma for both the sender and the receiver, right? He sent flowers to a friend to cheer her up. The perps added a funeral banner and sympathy card. Wow. Yep. Trauma to you and her, right? Or trying to instill some, or try to make her doubt you somehow, maybe. Right? They'll do that. They'll try to make all of us not trust each other. Okay? So keep that in mind. So if you start feeling like one of the others is after you or something like that, keep in mind that it's likely that happening and not them. Okay? Yeah, we're in a trauma-based mind control program. Yes, that's pretty close to it. That's pretty much it. Bottom line. So, one thing when I was getting ready for this live stream and, you know, pulling up the pictures and things for you guys so you get a good sense of what it is that I saw and what I dealt with, I found something that I totally forgot. And I wish I had documented all my experiences and all the downloads and all the premonitions and weird stuff I've gotten. I wish I had documented all that because it's a lot. But one of them I happened to write down because it seemed really important at the time, and then I forgot about it. That's what's weird, is because this sort of thing happens with me so much, I forget about some of these things. And I'm glad I wrote this one down because it was important. Now that I was reading it back and I'm like, was that even me? You know, the first few sentences, did I write that? And then I was like, oh yeah. Oh, you know, it was big. Okay. So I'm going to read that to you guys before I get started on the beings I've had contact with, because this kind of fits into there, because this is some more beings I had contact with. So, oh, you did? You did a video on it. Okay. I'll look at that. But we still need to, yeah, if we can chat, that would be awesome. Okay. I will look at that, I promise you. So you did do a video. All right. And you guys sub to each other, you know, and please, 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 that's something I left out the last one. If you know others like us, and the things that I mentioned about the autoimmune disorders and the addictions, addiction behavior, anger control with some people, they'll have some of the mood disorders, and things of that nature. Hi, Next. Good to see you. And just, it's really good to see you. Thank you for coming. You're one of us. Next happens to be one of the people I sought out specifically. And there'll be other new people coming because he's not the only one, but I sensed his genuine, he's got an inner calm. So his awake process is pretty up there. And he also is very good about how he deals with gang stalking. And he realizes that they don't, most of those that are gang stalking you, they aren't aware they're doing it. Part of the virus. Okay. He's very good about how he handles it. He's very calm, level-headed about it. Some of you aren't. Some of you are freaking out. We're going to aim to stop that. Get your inner calm back and get your groove back. Yes. It is a batshit crazy world out there. That's for sure. So, my experiences with contact of different types. I was talking about when my adult contact started. I believe, and I don't have direct memory, I'm still trying to access that, but I believe I had contact when I was young. I'm working on that. Working with regression therapy. And so I'll come up with that and I'll let you guys know if I have any epiphanies happen there with the regression therapy. But this is my adult contact. I said something about 2003, but it may have been 2002 when it started again, or my recollection wise. My son would have been almost 2 or just at 2 years of age at the time. So that's 16 years ago, about this time of the year. So 16 years of this, or at least the adult section of it. When the blinders started coming off and the amnesia started breaking. I will tell you about that first instance in particular. I have very foggy memories of what may have been a type of gray. Not benevolent at all. When I was put back in my bed, it was with a good deal amount of force. And it's so hard to describe. The amount of sound, there was a sound and it was very loud. It was like sticking your head inside of a kettle drum and somebody hitting it with a car. All encompassing, vibrate every cell in your body loud. I don't know how to describe it. It was like I got thrown back into my body. I don't think they took my whole body, but I got thrown back into my body. That's the only way I can describe it. It rattled my world. because I was like, because I bolted up right in my bed as it, just as I got thrown back in. And I'm like, what was that? I didn't know if a plane had hit the building. Good afternoon, princess. It's good to see you. And so I call her princess. That's my nickname for her. So you guys will become familiar with that. Esoteric, that's princess. Anyway, I got, like I said, I bolted upright. And I'm like, what, did a plane crash into the building? I didn't know, because I was asleep. I'm like, did I, and then I realized there wasn't a plane crash or anything. I'm like, did I have a seizure? What the heck is going on? And I felt very off kilter. And then after that happened, I started missing pieces of time, chunks of time. And not just at night. This was during broad daylight. Chunks of time gone. Here's an example. This is an example. And I told the doctors about this. I'm like, did I have a seizure? They didn't, EEG or whatever. I think it's an EEG where they put all the probes on your head, checking me for a seizure. They didn't see nothing. So that kind of ruled that out. And now with what I know now, I got thrown back in my body is what happened. The time loss. Here's for instance, one of thousands of times it's happened to me. I'll be walking to the kitchen to get a glass to get some water or something to drink or a cup for coffee or something. I'll open the cabinet door and freeze frame. And I'm not joking, freeze frame. It's like, unless you have it happen, it's very hard to understand what that's like. And then all of a sudden, you're back here again, and you're finishing the motion you started when everything checked out. And sometimes that could be minutes later, sometimes hours later. My son was so young when that was going on, a lot, that I don't know if he has any memory of it or if it can be, I'm sure it could be accessed if he would allow that to happen. Right now, he's at that teenage stage. It's not cool. I'm a guy. It's not cool. Like I said, our family members can be handlers, controllers, and that's no joke. And a lot of people, their parents or grandparents or friends or husbands or whatever, girlfriends can be their controllers, handlers. It's really messed up when your kids are. And that's what I'm experiencing. No fun. It's no fun to not be believed, even when they see it with their own eyes or even experience it. So, sorry, that almost brought tears to my eyes because it is, it's not fun. So, yeah, missing time, lots of it still happens. Not as often. Yes, overseers, controllers, handlers, there's millions of words, but it's all part of the virus. And they're not aware they're doing it. They're not doing it on purpose. That's why I try not to lash out at them, get mad at them, or anything like that. And that's what I love about Sir Next. He's got that inner calm. He knows that most of them, they don't know what they're doing. They don't realize they're doing it even. That's why, you know, a lot of the TIs, they're like, how much they paying you? They, you know, they're not getting paid nothing. They're getting used just like all of us. So keep that in your minds. Those of you that consider yourself a TI, we're all TIs of varying degrees, various levels, but it's all the same thing. It's all TI. Okay? We're all targeted. And keep that in mind. The ones that do that to you are not aware they are even doing it. And they are likely, like me, missing time. Okay? So keep that in mind. So that'll help you. I know there's some TIs that are out filming, like Next, that are just doing it to document. That's excellent. People need to be made aware this is going on. But then there's those of you that are freaking out on the people that are doing it to you. Just remember, these people aren't even aware they're doing it to you. Okay? So I need to put that out there because some of you guys are really losing it. And I hope that helps you understand that it's not them personally going after you and getting paid to do it. Most of them are not. Are there government ones that do? Yes, and they are paid. But the average gang stalker is not aware they are gang stalking you. So there's that. I know I laugh about some of these things. It's just I've been dealing with it a very long time. And I'm not fully aware of what I am, but I do know this. Because the best way I can put it is an angel. Now, some people are going to roll their eyes. Angel in a biosuit. For lack of a better word to put on it, because I don't know what we're called. My people, the people I've spent time with. I don't know what we're called specifically. I've never really gotten that information. I just know what it's like, what they feel like, and what I sense. And there's others like me that are more awakened that have that exact same sense too. And one of my friends, like Spirit, she did a video talking about you never know when you're going to be right next to an angel. They could look like a bum. They could look like your next door neighbor. You never know. So, well, that was my first experience. It would have been probably, I said 2003 before, but it's probably 2002 because I'm thinking back at the age my son was when he potty trained, and he potty trained early. So he was between 1 and 2 at the time. And I believe that would have set it at 2002. So yeah, I've been dealing with this a long time. And part of the reason I can laugh is because I know what I am now. And their shenanigans is ridiculous. And I can only laugh at them because it's just ridiculous to me at this point. And you guys will get to that point too. Trust me. The more you wake up and the more you realize what's going on here, the better you're going to be able to deal with it. Okay? So, and it'll stop the effect of that trauma. Because when you realize what you are and what they're doing, it takes the sting, it takes the effect of their attempts down, woo, way down. They become ineffective in many ways. They don't want that, but that's what we're doing. So anyway, that was that, experience, where I got thrown back in my body, bolted upright, went and saw doctors over it. Because I'm like, what happened? And then the lost time. I think I was taken out a few other times that summer. Just vague recollections of things happening. And then the missing time, I think I was taken out when that was happening. It's unnerving to go get a cup of water and then 2 hours later finish the movement you started to get that cup out of the cabinet. Very, yeah. So that's where some of this really started coming on. Then I'm not going to be able to see the chat room. Let me see. I'm going to read a little bit here before I go into the specific beings. They are everywhere. The truth is stranger than fiction. That's right. That's why I keep telling people, get your organic popcorn because shit's going to get interesting. Yeah, if you talk about your experience to family, they call you insane and laugh at you for the rest of your life. I know, right? Yes, energy vampires. We ourselves can be energy vampires. I'll talk about that some. All right, so I'm going to get into the beings I've had contact with. And like I said, the first ones, I didn't think I had ever had contact with grays, but that first one and the subsequent loss of time right after that, over that summer, I believe that's what that was. And they weren't good. I can tell you that. It was not. Mm-mm. They weren't neutral and they weren't good. So what does that equal? Oh, wow. Your mom had a lot of them? You may have too and just don't remember. My Sky's 5D. He plays with the cosmic sky dragon. Yes. My Sky, in the last video, I talked about going over to that 30A channel and looking at the beach at night and letting yourself go out of focus and seeing what I see. My Sky's 5D, he sees what I see. And I told him what those were. So he knows. There's a lot going on up there, isn't there? A lot of stuff pressing in on our on our little holodeck here. Oh, thank you, Sir Scrappy. That means a lot to me. He said he admired my bravery. Okay. Yeah. The angels will show you what is true. Now, I had something that kind of shook me a little bit, but I'm back on track again, and I'll explain that later, and it has to do with my angel friends. Yeah, our Sky is quite the neighborhood. That is an understatement. Anyway, I'll get on with this. Let's see. I need to share screen. So I will do that. Let me fix this. Blah, 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 blah. Share the screen. Oh, before I do that, hang on. I told you that that I found something that I'd forgotten about because I have so many premonitions and experiences that some of them get lost in the shuffle. And the date of this document is September 14th, 2016. And I had forgotten about this until I started looking for some of the stuff I had saved on the visitors I have had or contact I have had. And let me get a drink of coffee here. Oh, I needed that. I've been going hard the last few days. I tell you what, tomorrow, I hate Mondays anyway. Tomorrow's crash and burn day. You probably won't see my head pop up at all. Much better. Okay. This happened this premonition dream was during an afternoon nap. I woke up around 3:30 p.m. from this, okay? And I had forgotten I'd even written this, and I'm so glad I did because I sensed it was important at the time, so I documented it. Thank goodness I did. I wish I did all of them, but this one, I'm glad I did. This is what I wrote. I took a nap during midday yesterday. I had one of the freakiest damn dreams of my life. Trust me when I say I've had some dreams in the past that were way off in left field before. This one was of a prophetic nature, which is not something I normally get. I was in front of an angel, a really high up the ladder deal, aka Lucifer possibly. I was basically a lower level angel in the dream, but ranked just below him or nearly equal in some way. We were inside what seemed like some sort of super large indoor cavern, and there were these pedestals rising up from the floor below. Not sure how far down it was, didn't bother to looking over the edge, just got the feeling it was a long way down. There were other female angels trapped on top of each one of these pedestals. And I described the pedestals like stalagmites with flattened tops, and each angel was affixed to them. And what looked like giant domed bird cages over each one of them. They were suffering, barely alive, and had bloodstains running down the front of them. The bloodstains were caused by them being fed blood, and that was the only thing he would feed them, barely keeping them alive in those cages. I am certain I knew each one of these. Oh, let me scroll down. I am certain I knew each one of these females that were trapped like sisters. He told me that if I agreed to do something for him, that he would release them from the cages. I told him I didn't make deals with his kind, but I was torn by the cries of the angels in the cages. He told me to think it over, and the next thing I knew, I was waking up from this very real feeling dream, aka vision, nightmare. I'm certain I know how each of these angels got fooled into being trapped by him in those cages. I wanna make a point here before I finish reading this. I was not, when I wrote this, I was not aware of the virus, the malware, the holodeck. Okay? I was not aware that what I am may be exactly that, an angel in a biosuit. Could I be wrong? Yes. But this fascinates me going back and reading it now. Anyway, I'll back up and reread a little bit to pick up where we were. He told me to think it over, and the next thing I knew, I was waking up from this very real feeling, dream, vision, nightmare. I am certain I know how each of these angels got fooled into being trapped by him in these cages. I think they agreed to his terms that made the mistake of not agreeing to when that release would happen. Ergo, they were trapped by a trick soul contract. If I get taken back to that place, I already know I will not agree to his deal, knowing full well he will never set them free, and I will only become his next capture. I got the feeling he was super afraid of us. Remember, I'm an empath. I read people, I read things, I can read them too. He was afraid of us. Like the power of us together. Now, this is the interesting part because I didn't know my mission when I wrote this. I do know most of it now. Like the power of us together might be above his own in some way. Ding, 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 ding. So now I'm trying to figure out a way to beat him at his own game. Not sure if it is a mistake or not. Still thinking it all over. Wondered if you had any circumstances like this come up and what you did, or maybe you might know of some sort of way to undo the soul contracts that got them stuck there. I know it may just be a wild ass dream, but it seemed very real. Let me know what you think and what I can do to hold him off if he brings that question before me again. So that's one of many beings I've had contact with. Prophetic? Yes. Has something to do with now? I have a funny feeling, yeah. And like I said, when I was digging around to find the beings that I've had contact with, I had totally forgotten I even wrote this, and I stumbled across it, and I'm reading the first few sentences go, did I write this? And I started reading, I'm like, oh my gosh, how did I forget about that? How on earth do you forget about something like that? But with all the stuff that I have happen, it just got buried. Luckily, I wrote it down. Anyway, that's what I wrote. And that was September 14th, 2016. I will save that and close it. Okay. Now we're going to get on with share screen and some of the other. I'll look at the chat real quick because I know some of you are probably freaking out on that. I almost did when I first started reading it going, did I write this? Okay. Yeah, Cersei says, talk to them out loud and you will see them for yourself. Yep. Yes, my sky's 5D. I don't just see what you're talking about. I document it and film it in our skies. I invite all of you later after the live stream to come over and take a look. Yes, like I said, all of you guys should sub each other, because that information will help you awaken. Okay. Sir Tony says, pretty heavy dream. Yeah. The bond. Sir Steve says, the bond. Yes, those were sisters. And you know, something that crossed my mind when I got done reading it, when I found it, when I spend time with my guys at what I call home, there's approximately 30 to 40 of us. Approximate. I didn't count. It's sorely lacking in the female department. And I'm wondering if that's why. That crossed my mind right after I read it and remembered that dream, vision, whatever you want to call it, premonition. Is that why there's so few females there? Because there's only maybe 5, including myself. That would explain it, right? Yeah, we are sassy. So, Princess, she says, my angels are so sassy and hilarious. Yes, they are. My guy Gabriel, he's quite the character. He keeps me laughing all the time. I love people that make me laugh, and he does. Let's see. My sky's 5D. Yeah, that's very intense, and I've been having intense dreams lately. Okay. If you ever feel like you need to talk, just get a hold of me, okay? Sir Steve, a living will and an affidavit of truth stating the contract is misconstrued, and now you are aware you want to correct the relationship. Yeah. Sir Tony says that could be the case, and I think he's referring to me making the observation that there's very few females in my home. I think that's because they're trapped. All right. Plasma, it's great to see you. I say the women are generally stronger with energy awareness. Yes. Most of those that I know who see plasma creatures are female. That's true. Either that, or think of this too. The men here are very programmed to not discuss such things more than we are. Women are given more leeway for fancies of flight. Is that, you know what I mean? So maybe it's just they're not coming forward. But yes, my experience as well is most of the people coming forward saying they're seeing the orbs and other plasma creatures are female. But I have a feeling that the men are shutting it off. Much like my son. He's seen the orb ships outside our house. Yeah, he tells me I'm crazy. He's seen them with his own eyes. And like I said, he had a shadow person living in his closet from the time he was itty bitty. And he would come and sleep in my room because it would scare him. I'm not scared of him, but he was. So I let him sleep with me. Or he would sleep with his light on. And even with that, he'd still come in my room and sleep. So, but I think what's going on with the overwhelming population of us that see them or claim to see them are female is because we're allowed that, because women are frail and they just see things. You know what I mean? That playing us off. Oh, don't pay attention to her. She's just a girl. You know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. So I think that's what's going on there. Sir Steve, I'm in touch with my feminine and masculine. Yin yang, yes. Sir Tony says he only sees beings in his mind when he's trying to meditate and things. Yeah. I have a feeling that's going to change. Don't be scared, though. No fear, remember? They can't hurt you. Not really. Because when you realize what you actually are. Okay. Yes, the deal with sexism and ageism is quite the pain in the rear, is it not? Oh, Sir Steve, I had a female voice tell me in a stern manner to stop. I was trying to astro travel. Yeah. Yep, yep. She was having none of it, right? It said, please stop. Yeah. Now you got to decipher, was that a negative or a positive telling you to do that? Because keep in mind, the virus does not want you awake. And if you astral travel in any way, shape, or form, you awaken more. Or were they just merely trying to protect you? You got to ask yourself those questions and sense it out for yourself. Turn on your feelers, your radar. Ding, 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 ding. Okay? You thought it was Mother Earth. Your incorporeal friends have been telling you to get organized. Yes. Organization is good. It's not an easy thing to accomplish, but it's good. Because when you go to look for something, it's always nice to be able to find it. One of my abilities is that internal mapping thing I've got going on. And where things are set or placed in my house, I know where everything's at. Exactly. And if somebody picks it up and moves it, you can ask my kids. I know it. My sky's 5D. You're so funny. If I could just get in touch closer with my feminine side, maybe I could quit spending all my money on dating. No, that is good. That's a good one. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you could be like a worm, right? I won't go there. I won't say any more. Excuse me. Sir Steve, it felt important, like I was being warned not to go any further. It was unsettling, and I have not tried again. Okay. Just keep feeling that out. Maybe you have your people, maybe they don't think you're ready for it yet. I don't know. You have to sense that out, okay? I mean, there's those of us that have some abilities that might be able to give you answers, but you can get those yourself even. So yes, princess is a sort, yes. SO. Sir next, I call SO princess. And she is learning a great deal. And she's walking a path much like my own in the past, because she knew things didn't make sense in the world around her. And I've told her, sometimes you have to walk in the dark to know the light. So she's walking her path. So she's playing with those dimensional beings that are right in the, like I said, the dimensions are stacked, and she's basically having experiences with those that are in the dimensions right next to ours. Like I said, if you go watch that webcam, that beach webcam at night, you'll see what I'm talking about. And like I said, it's not a, focus in on it. Sit back and let your eyes relax and go a little out of focus. Are you asking me if I'm a targeted individual? Yes, I am. Very, very targeted. The more you hear my videos, the more you'll become aware of that. I could go into a bit of an outline on how I'm targeted, but let's just say my targeting has been extensive pretty much since I was born, including losing multiple people around me, very close people, including a husband. So yeah, my targeting has been hardcore. All right, off to the races. I will share screen. I'll remind you guys, save your questions for when I stop sharing the screen. If you have trouble remembering them, put them in all caps, and I can scroll back and find the questions quicker that way. If you, put them all caps. If you don't, just put the word question in front of it, okay? That will help me find them quicker when I get done doing the share screen. Because when I do the share screen, I cannot see anything but that. I can't see your chat or anything. So here we go. Off to the races. Now I will share with you my experiences. All right. I've talked about experiences with what I call these tiny blue beings. I believe these beings are what are piloting, for lack of a better word, the small orb ships that are also known as Foo Fighters. They've been around a very long time. They're not grays. Grays are not good. These guys are good. They're very hard. They're hard to read in a way. Um, oh, let's see. Oh yeah. First, I'll give you guys this picture of them, or this picture. This picture struck a chord in me because it is similar to what they are like. I've described them as they're an intense electric blue. Light is coming from their skin surface, very bright. So bright you can barely see. It's intense, bright light. Their method of movement is they can stand erect like a human, but they seem to prefer the movement is best described. They prefer all fours. They have, 2 arms, 2 legs, but their movement is very much indicative of a chimpanzee. Imagine what a chimpanzee looks like going on all fours, but a little tiny blue being. This being, the size comparison is larger than my little blue guys. The little blue guys are maybe, if when they stand up, maybe 3 feet tall, maybe. Maybe it's likely less than 3 feet, probably closer to 2, 2.5. They don't quite look like this, but this was kind of a good representation. Um, you notice how this one kind of looks scary and almost, the jaggedy, weird teeth. That's not what I saw. They're very nondescript. They have a small nose. I'm not even sure if they have a mouth. If it is, it's small. And the ears is pretty much the same, very, very small, if anything. They're an intense electric blue. These guys started coming to me. I wish I documented all this stuff. I just kicked myself in the rear for not doing so. Approximate year would be, let's see, first experience would have been probably 2006 is my best guess. They feel, I'll explain my experience, kind of describe it. I had my cats that are now at my mom's in my apartment at the time. And so I felt something jump up on the bed and run across over my feet. And I thought it was my cat because, it felt like that, but a little heavier than my cat. But I wasn't thinking I was going to get a visit from an ET of any type. So I did not, even look. I just felt something get up on the bed, run across my feet over to the bottom right-hand corner of the bed. And I figured it was the cat. And my bedroom, but, if I had thought about it for 2 seconds, my bedroom door was shut, so how could it be the cat? You know, didn't think of it at the time. I just, assumed it was the cat. And the first few times, well, the very first experience I recall, um, it was much like the sleep paralysis that people describe. Um, and my first thought, because it shocked me because, I'm sitting there staring at this thing. It's small, intense blue, and I can't move anything but my head and my eyes. And not even really my head so much, but more my eyes. And, well, my head a little bit. Uh, my first thing was I got scared and shocked. And when I get scared, I'm not the kind of person that pulls the covers up over my head. I'm the kind of person that jumps up and is ready to kick some ass. I don't put up with any BS. So my first instinct was, I'm going to kill your ass, you little shit, whatever the hell you are. And those were the thoughts running through my head. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get rid of you. And because of my telepathy wasn't super honed yet. I was getting messages, but I wasn't listening so much. And yeah, I wasn't listening. Anyway, they took me out. I say they because I know there was more than one, but one in particular always came to get me. Took me out through, in my bedroom, the way it was laid out, my bedroom window was next to the closet door. They took me out through that closet wall window area, out through there. I've talked about people having portals and being portal guardians in the past. That portal that's attached to me is in that closet. I suspect that's how they travel. And that's why I went out, and they took me out on my mattress, not the entire bed, just the mattress and me. And now I know that the reason they took the entire mattress with me on it, basically paralyzed, was to keep me from hurting myself, trying to get at them. So that's all I remember of the first experience. And they have what I believe is some sort of little wand-like apparatus that is the thing that can paralyze you and mind wipe you. I believe they probably could use it for more than that or other things, but that's what I know for sure they use it for. I had other experiences with these very same beings. I reasoned out to myself after they took me a few times and I tried to kill them every time. I reasoned out to myself, okay, they've returned me to my bed safely, uninjured. Maybe I need to not fight and see what this is all about. So the next time they came to get me, I didn't, when they first come, you're kind of not expecting it. So you got the first kind of startle thing. But once you get over that, then they took me without the bed. And they took me and they showed me, and I'm still trying to discern if I was looking at a cavern or a planet, but I believe it was a planet. I keep thinking back and it's like, was that a planet? But my first gut instinct, it was a planet. It was on fire. And it was their home. And they were trying to show me what had happened. Now, the interesting thing, remember I told you my son has seen the ships outside my bedroom window. My daughter has had experiences with these very same tiny blue beings, and they took her and showed her a planet on fire, just like they did me. But I'm crazy. Like I said, the virus. You got to remember these people aren't aware that they're doing what they're doing. Because even people in your own family that have had experiences, I don't know what it is. She said, well, I thought it was a dream. And I'm like, why would you and I have an identical same dream? Think about that. Identical same dream. Anyway, they were showing me I believe their planet, and it was destroyed. They were trying to tell me something, and my telepathy wasn't up there yet. So I didn't receive everything they were trying to tell me, except for I did get the gut feeling that's what was going on there. They were showing, and that's exactly what she got when they took her. So those are my little blue guys. These are, I believe, the beings that pilot the Foo Fighters. Now I'm going to show you some more about the Foo Fighters. And I pulled this up just to give you guys, when you do a search, man, you have to do a lot of digging. And other people that I've run across other people that have described very similar experiences to mine with these little blue guys. I'll see if there's any, like I said, that one picture I've got right here, this one is sort of similar and gives you some general impression, but it's not dead on. Every once in a while, I'll scroll through and see if anybody drew anything that even comes closer to that. When I saw this skeleton, I thought, I wonder if that's one of my guys, because they are really tiny. That did cross my mind. I don't see any pictures other than the skeleton itself that could be. It's interesting that pops up, because there's a story coming with that pretty soon. That's interesting, because they kind of look like that, the little blue guys. See, look at the skeleton here. See the skeleton? See this? That's very similar. But, like I said, they prefer, it seems, to use all fours. And when they're on all fours, they're very agile, like a chimpanzee, very fast. Yeah. But that really, really fascinates me right there, because that is very similar when you look at the skeleton of that tiny one and this. Very close, very close. Anyway, the other thing I wanted to show you about, let's see, nope, nope, here we go. When you type in Foo Fighters, of course, you come up with the band, and I don't know if that's intentional to bury the truth about the Foo Fighter UFOs, because, you know, these go way back to World War II. And as we know, that's when the bombs were dropped, and that's when these guys were showing interest in what was going on here. The other thing I wanted to show you, hopefully I can find that again. Oh, yeah. Here we go. This is what I wanted to share with you. There are many circumstances where these Foo Fighters have interfered with nuclear weapon systems. Nuclear. They have been involved in disarming and downing tests. They shut down the missile sites or take them over to prove they can do it. I think it's to impress upon our government that they're not going to have any of it, basically. That's my sense. I don't think they're going to allow them to ever use them. The other thing is interesting is, I don't know if you all saw this video on an orb ship taking out the SpaceX rocket right on the launch pad. But if you go in and type this into your search engine sometime after the stream and just look into it, UFO disarming or blowing up nuclear weapons, type that in, and then take a look at what the Foo Fighters are doing. And tell me if you sense benevolent or otherwise from these guys. Because my sense is these are good guys. These are part of the team good. Anyway, that's one of the races I have had contact with. I'll go ahead and close these as I go. So, all right, my tiny blue dudes. I'm still going, oh yeah, that's pretty darn close right there. But I don't recall the mouth being that big, but could be. Like I said, they're so intensely bright. It's really hard to make them out because they just, wow. Yeah, they're intense. The blue, like I said, it's electric, and the amount of light coming off of them is incredible. Very hard to look at. It's like trying to look at the sun. Anyway, this one shows what looks like mean things. What I saw didn't look mean. Some people try to, yeah. Anyway, but this little skeleton thing, seriously, that did cross my mind when I saw this the first time back, I don't know, a few years ago when this first surfaced. I was like, is that one of my guys? You know? Anyway, I've got pictures to share with you that I drew too. So we're going to be going back and forth between screen shares and these pictures I drew. Oh, and these I have dated to some extent. The next one I wanted to share with you, I'm going to stop sharing screen for a minute because I want you to see this. And I drew this. I hope it shows up good for you guys. I mark off where my bedroom closet is, the bedroom door, the being I was looking at. These are very rudimentary drawings. Let's see if it'll focus on what I wrote. Probably backwards, though. Anyway, get a good look at the being. Okay. All right. This guy, I'll try to point to these as I go. It's starting to get dark in here. I should probably turn a light on or something, but all right, let's see. I've got my bedroom. This is the top of the wall. This is hard to describe. I woke up what felt kind of like a maybe sort of drug state, but not like some of the others I've had before. But this is so hard to describe. Okay, pretend this is my bed right here. Think of a square right here. And then normally my wall is way back here. But suddenly, in front of my bedroom door, I have this wall. And through the wall was this being's head stuck through the wall with these apparatuses that were like black. It reminded me of when you see somebody like a baby in an incubator and somebody's got their arm stuck through the incubator into to touch the baby, but they have like rubber gloves on. It reminded me of that very much. These black things sticking through the wall, this wall that appeared in my bedroom, like a new wall in front of my bedroom door. I actually wrote down the measurements, approximately how big this creature was, and details. Almost Caucasian skin color, rough looking skin, not totally smooth. Head is very large. Size approximately a yardstick, 36 inches across. Weird black tube-like things projecting from the wall, 5 or 6 of them approximately 40 inches long, and they were some of them were kind of curved and stuff. Looked like maybe instruments of some sort. He had a helmet on his head. Looked shiny and almost plastic-like, black and white color, but mostly white. Large, black, bulging eyes with pupils. Large, thin mouth. Head stuck through the wall like a mounted animal, but alive and moving until it looked over and saw my eyes open. Okay, so when I first popped my eyes open, I'm looking at this being. Its lips are moving like it's talking to itself while it's working. And this particular thing, I don't like talking about this, but there was a, what do you call it? A sexual nature involved with this. And these tubes, I believe this being was, I've had a hysterectomy. I cannot have children. but I do have an ovary with eggs. And I believe this being was collecting eggs, is what was going on there. I woke up to this. This being's lips were moving and like it was talking to itself while it was working. Like I said, there was some what seemed like sort of sexual nature going on to the whole situation. And when, I mean, so hard to describe. When he saw me looking at him, it was almost like when I get eye contact with the really bad negative people that have attachments or the ones that are really bad in biosuits. I got that same feeling, like I sensed and uh-oh, she saw me. And then he did this fake out freeze thing where he slowly stopped everything he was doing and froze. And I read his mind. He's like, maybe she'll think that I'm just an inanimate object, like a mounted animal on a wall. This guy okay, let me go to screen share and I'll talk about this further. All right. I went in to do, I've done a lot of research. I've done so many years of it. In that research, you look at the emerald tablets, you look at the Sumerian tablets, Inky and Enlil and all that. And like I've described before, these guys have thousands and thousands. There's not thousands, but many of them have hundreds of different names. And that's because Phoenician, Sumerian, they all gave them different names because of their different languages, but they're all the same being. I think that's meant to confuse. I think it's also meant to make it seem like there's more of them than there are. So someone who does stumble upon the knowledge feels helpless to do anything about what's happening. I'm going to put this picture to the side. This guy is also known as, I believe, Dagon is another name for Inky, among many, many, many other names for the same being. If you studied the Sumerian tablets and all of that, you are fully aware that these guys were tinkering with DNA. Sound familiar? Like our MTHFR being targeted? It's all about DNA, isn't it? Inky and his brother Enlil were all about dinking with DNA. And this Dogon, I believe, is Inky, also known by a bunch of other names. It's funny because when they do drawings, they make them look all scary and stuff. No, they don't look scary, not to me. And what's funny, when I started doing the research, this little cartoon character looks closer to what he actually looks like than these mystical drawings, okay? He has huge eyes, like I depicted in my picture, very thin lips, very wide mouth, and yeah, He's also been depicted in many ways as a fish man. But when you read the tablets, he's described as an amphibian, frog-like being. And, you know, he's depicted here with a fish suit on, and which the mitre hat of the Pope is representation of the suit. Yeah, there's a lot of convoluted stuff going on. But that being, I didn't even know what he was until I started really looking. And I'm like, could that be him or one of, I don't know if there's anyone else that looks like him or if there's other beings that look just like him or not. But that's what was in my room. And the fact that this being is very well known and notorious for dinking with human DNA and their own. If you read these books and do the research, they dinked with their own DNA to make us. They dinked with all kinds of animal DNA. That's why you see all the minotaurs and all these other creatures and the cyclops and all this is because of this DNA dinking, jacking with DNA. Now, the sexual component to that, and me coming to the conclusion that maybe he was trying to get a hold of my eggs, is because my guys, Gabriel and Ed and I, warned me. They said, they will use your children against you. Okay? I explained the problem I have with my kids right now. That they seem clueless even though they've seen some things with their own eyes. And so I thought that's what they meant when they said that. But the other thing that crossed my mind when I realized that, oh my gosh, was he here farming my eggs? Was, could he have been trying to get a hold of my eggs to use a child against me? That came to mind. Yeah, kind of earth-shattering, right? I can tell you right now it won't work. I can tell him right now it won't work. So anyway, that's one of the beings I have had contact with. He's not scary. I sensed he got scared and freaked out when he realized I was awake and saw him. So, yeah, I don't know what's up with that. And just that warning I got about my children being used against me, and then this and the DNA component and all that. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. But that was and there's all kinds, you know, it talks about Dagon, the Sumerian text, and this is a Wikia page. And as I said, you know, I'm just sharing all this in all these pages, these web pages, as a method of teaching. So I don't make any claim to the work here. I'm just using them as examples for you guys to look at if you want to look at this further. But this is directly linked with the Bible, all the Abrahamic religion is written based on these beings. And if you read it and you start looking at the family tree, you start going, oh, and things start making sense. Okay? So if you want to look that up, be my guest. The other thing that when I was looking all this up, because I was trying to find pictures so I could show people what this thing looked like that was in my room, without the helmet, this baby looks just like, or very nearly like, the being that was in my bedroom, but of course much larger than the baby. Now, another thing that crossed my mind, Inky's also known as Lucifer. And I've had dealings, obviously, based on that premonition, prophetic dream I had. I've had dealings with him before. This, you guys can look into that if you like. I just, like I said, I want you to know me on every level and everything that's happened and occurred. So these babies that are being born looking like, very oddly, just like him, are being said to be because of a Zika virus from a mosquito is causing this. But I have some doubts there that it's a mosquito, because he's very known to be in the books running around sleeping with everything he can based on the books. I could be wrong. Like I said, I'm good at connecting dots, and these dots, this baby jumped off the page at me because it looks like him. Okay? I'm just saying. It looks like him. The being that was in my room. That's what he looks like. Except for the only thing that I might change a little bit is the mouth was thinner and even wider. A little bit. But otherwise, oh my gosh, dead on. It's one of the closest renditions to what I have seen possible. Okay? Of all the beings. This was like spot on. Okay. We're going to stop looking at that one. Dagon, Inky, Cthulhu, the 100 other names. His number's up. Let me tell you that. He's next. All right. The next being I told you guys about already is a horned deity I had 2 run-ins with. He's known as Cernonos, also aka Pan, Hern the Hunter, a bunch of names, just like the last one. But this particular one, if you go back to my video about astral demon into the 3D, that's this guy. Now, like I said, I'm not certain that was AKA Inky, but all signs are pointing that direction. The DNA, the sexual perverted crap hooked to it, that picture of the baby, that just blew my mind when I saw it. I was completely just like, what? And I don't know. I'm just putting out putting out in front of you guys what I have researched. My gut instinct tells me. So then we have the horn deity. Was it indeed Cernunnos, Pan, Baphomet, whatever you want to call him? Was that indeed what I had the clash with? I can't say for sure. I just know what I saw and what I dealt with. And there was an extreme energy release during that last conflict. Like I said, I wounded him the first time. The second time I took him out. Or I'm relatively certain I took him out. Like his energy was transmuted and released. And it was a large release of energy, enough that it knocked me to the ground. So you can listen to that video to get more detail about this, but this guy is one of the ones I've had dealings with twice. Then I've shown in prior videos, I've got pictures of, like I said, I had near-death experiences more times than I can count because of the MTHFR gene and the autoimmune disorders that resulted from that. I have mast cell activation disorder, which makes me, I'm pretty much, there's more, it's easier to list the things I'm not allergic to than it is to list the things I am, because that list is so extensive. It includes all plants, all grasses, all fumes, mold, spores, the sun, heat, humidity. I don't seem to have a huge problem with cold, but other people with my disorder have cold intolerance as well. I'm really not joking. And so I was in anaphylaxis all the time, constant. And I would go to bed at night pretty darn sure I wasn't going to wake up the next morning, all the time. Or I'd lay down for a nap thinking I won't wake up. And because the doctors had not diagnosed me, they didn't know what was going on. And I had given up on the doctors, totally had given up on them because they couldn't figure out what was wrong. And they would give me stuff that would make me worse. And so, yeah, it was crazy. But during one of the times I had laid down, I woke up to this very large orb hovering just above me. And the inside of the orb, the center, was a creature emitting a real soft light. Bright, but soft. It wasn't like intense like my blue guys, okay? It was very, easy to look at, not a problem. The being in the center was emitting kind of a pinkish glow almost. It looked almost like a butterfly or a moth with like really fragile wings. It almost reminded me of a Luna moth, but with raggedy edges on the wings. That's what was in the very center. And then the outer part of the orb, the sphere itself, was very pearlescent, like a bubble, like a soap bubble, very much like that. had all different kinds of colors in it, like a soap bubble. But the main color emitting from that orb was the pinkish, purplish color. It was hovering just above me, like, I don't know, let's see, how long is my arm? I'd say it was about 3 feet away, just out of my reach when I tried to touch it. Because I woke up with this floating above me, and I sat there just kind of, trying to get my eyes to focus and look at it and reason out what it was that I was looking at. Because my first instinct, is this a soap bubble? Is Alex blowing bubbles into my bedroom while I'm sleeping? It didn't make any sense, but I mean, it's one of the, because I always try to reason things out immediately. What is this? What am I looking at? And I reached over to touch the orb, and it moved slightly away, just out of reach. Because I was going to poke it, because I thought, well, if it's a bubble, it's going to pop, right? When you first wake up, you're kind of groggy and you're trying to work it out, And it moved slightly out of my reach, so I couldn't poke it. And then I kind of pulled my arm back a little bit, and I was like, what? And then I kind of rolled further over, trying to reach it, stretch, and it disappeared. Boom, just gone. And I think, I don't know. I'm not certain. But I think I've captured that very same orb in photographs on multiple occasions. And they're large. You see a lot of orbs that some of them are really tiny. This was a large orb, the size of between a junior basketball and a basketball. It was good size. Yeah, very benevolent, not a bad guy. So that is one of the contacts I've had. You see, other people call them angel orbs too, the really big ones like that. They definitely emit certain colors. Some people, there's a lot of different types of orbs. I don't know anybody that's really spent any time investigating that, but there are all different types, and it's mind-boggling how many different kinds there are. But these orbs are very large. Well, large for what's down here with us and not floating up above us, because there's some that are really massive, really massive. I'm not joking. I've got pictures of very massive orbs. But yeah, the other people are calling them angel orbs too. And I know if you get one on a photograph that is really good size, like basketball size, you're likely looking at what I had in my bedroom. And they're not the bad guys at all. This one's saying it's Archangel Uriel. Another thing, I saw a stream that Kelly and the Raw had done. Here's some more pictures of the larger orbs. And when you capture them on a photograph, they come back kind of looking like this right here. And that same basketball size, thing. And I got pictures of it. I showed them. I'd have to go digging a long ways to find them again, but they're good size. But like I said, Kelly had done a video about reptilians, the virus here on our holodeck, projecting themselves as angels. And when I first saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, are my guys reptilian? Am I being psyoped? What is going on? Because you always, like I said, you're always self-checking. You always have some, you know, your deep inner thoughts of, am I just being jacked with? Or, anybody with a reasonable thinking mind would stop and think, you know, multitudes of things, but that's one of the avenues. And when I saw the video that she had done, she had pulled this up, and I will show you all the pictures here. She shows them in her video too, about the masters of deception. This is Inky and Enlil and their crowd, okay? And their gang of cohorts, because there's other races involved in this. But in the virus that I keep talking about. Um, someone's I studied the work of Peggy Kane, and if you guys aren't familiar with who Peggy Kane is, look her up. She's one of the first people that did work with reverse speech on electronic voice phenomenon. So EVPs, where people think they're talking to spirits. And listen to the interviews where Peggy Kane talks about her experience with that. And this is what she was talking to right here, and she knew it. And so a lot of people that think they're talking to their dead loved ones are in actuality talking to some of these. And, another friend of mine does work on reverse speech, like does reverse speech on politicians and people like that. And it is shocking what you hear in reverse speech. And, back when I was a kid, a teenager, and they said, Led Zeppelin's got stuff in reverse on his album, Stairway to Heaven, and things like that. I was like poo-pooing it. I thought it was ridiculous. Well, guess what? Reverse speech is a thing, and it's real. And it exposes them for what they are. Because they can sit there and lie to you in regular forward speech, but you reverse it and you get to hear what they really said. Anyway, it talks about them posing to be ascended masters and channeled entities, angels, watchers, etc. And I was like, oh my gosh, is my guy Gabriel actually one of these? And I keep thinking to myself, I, I, I don't believe that's so. I mean, these guys could pose to be him, but I think my guy is actually the Gabriel, or another Gabriel that has nothing to do with any of this. Because I just know my experiences with him, and nothing has ever, ever, ever even remotely come up on a negative or me feeling weird. Um, I don't know, but I wanted to bring that up because it did, it crossed my desk because I watched her video and I'm like, oh, wow. Oh, wow. And, she does talk about, remember I said, I won't channel other beings because there's only so much room inside here and it's mine. It's my vessel. um, I believe Kelly feels the same way about it, but there's others that do. Um, I think it's okay if you know what you're doing, but you can get these guys And they're notorious deceivers, masters of deception. And that's no joke, because these guys, the whole soul contract crap is them. That's their doing. They're the ones that enslaved everybody here in the first place. They are the virus. And I wanted to bring this up to you guys, but I don't think my Gabriel is one of these guys posing to be Gabriel. I think he is a benevolent, good guy, the guy that I've got. I don't think I'm being deceived that way. I could be wrong. And down the road, if I discover otherwise, I will be the first one to tell you that my guy was BSing me. But so far, I have never been BS'd or led astray. These guys, my guy, has been leading me and helping me to this information. All these years of research, he's been guiding me, pointing me in the right direction. When I started listening to my telepathy, because they trained me to listen, they trained me to use the telepathy. And when I started listening to them, it sped up my research by an astronomical amount. Otherwise, I'd still be way back sludging in the mud, and I wouldn't know everything I know right now. So I don't think my guy's one of these guys, but these guys compose to be one of these guys. So be well aware of that when you're dealing with any of this stuff. Okay? I just want to put it out there. There's really bad, nasty guys. Miss Kelly herself has seen several of these in her bedroom. Okay? She's seen this one in her bedroom. So if any of these guys, and these guys are Inky Enlil, aka the Anunnaki, the virus, the issue, the problem we have here. By the way, our power is far superior, as I've been stating all along. We're far, 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 far. They're scared of us. Trust me. So I just wanted to put this out there because I saw her video and I was like, I started to question myself and started to question everything. And then I started thinking back. It's like, nope, nope. Check, check, check. My guy's the good guy. He's not an imposter. And if it turns out different, I will tell you. But right now, I'm firm about that. I'm certain my guy is not one of these. But they're there, and be aware of it. Okay. Known as masters of deceit. And they will pose to be all kinds of benevolent beings when they are not. The next thing that I've seen on 2 occasions now, originally it was just once, I had spoke to my guys and told them, I promise you, I won't freak out if I see a being that looks weird to me, but is benevolent. I won't get scared and freak out and lose my shit or anything like that. I said, can you show me one? They didn't show me anything. I'm like, okay, I gave up on the idea because I figured they'd show me right then and there. But I think it was kind of a test to see if I would freak out, because I didn't see this being until a couple of days later. I was caught totally off guard in my bathroom. This being was laying on my bathroom floor. I had I had just got done going to the bathroom, turned around, flushed the toilet, turned back around, and this guy's on my bathroom floor. Is it the Ganesha? I don't know, but the being in my bathroom floor was an elephant being, okay? He's very wrinkly like, much more than the pictures depict. He is kind of fleshy colored. You know, you see a lot of depictions of him looking blue. He's not blue. He is skin tone. like some of these other depictions show, like here. This is kind of close. He was laying in my bathroom floor with very little clothing on. That's what's interesting, is some of these depictions show him sort of kind of covered with a robe or something, but what I saw, he was just in a little Speedo, for lack of a better word. The little thing he had draped on him was all he had on. He had nothing else on. He didn't have jewelry on. He didn't have a crown on. He was just laying there kind of hanging out. And it's like, wow. So when I first turned around, that startled, because I wasn't expecting something in my bathroom. So did I get kind of, I don't know, a shock response, but not fear. So I think that was their way of seeing if I would actually freak out or not. And they waited, it was a couple of days before it happened. Anyway, that's what was laying in my bathroom floor. Yeah. Known as Ganesha. This is a Hindi or Hindu deity, I believe. I did not sense any negative. I didn't feel the negative, nasty energy that I feel when I'm in contact with some of these others. This one seemed benevolent. I always have the right to retract that statement, but as of now, seems benevolent. Just kind of almost childlike in the feeling I got coming from this being. Very, yeah, not a bad guy. But then there is a theme going on here with this, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. But I think it is the pictures I showed you a little while ago of the pretenders that will pretend to be something else. I think that it's some of their little tricks that's going on here. Now I'm going to show you. We'll get rid of Ganesha. We've got him out of the way. All right. I could not find anything on the net so far that looked like what I saw in my bedroom on May 30th of this year at 2:43 a.m. I woke up. I'm going to go ahead and go back. Stop sharing the screen for a minute. Ooh, about stop the broadcast. That's not good. That wouldn't be good, right? All right. This is May the 30th. Okay. I woke up to this thing floating just to my left side here. This was a gold, shiny, chrome-like metallic, but it was gold color, with that chrome shininess kind of thing. And notice how the little thing sticking off of it almost looks like a trunk, kind of. I don't know. Kind of bizarre. Just some of the odd similarities going on there. This thing was floating with this pointed towards me. It kind of reminded me of the shape of it and stuff reminded me of a man-o-war jellyfish, oddly enough. And if you look at it and you look at a man-o-war jellyfish, you'll see what I'm talking about, the similarity. And then it started, after I woke up and put my eyeballs on it, it started lifting up towards the ceiling. And the bottom side of it looked like this, like weird, intricate, tubular-like things coming out of it in a pattern that it was bilateral. In other words, both sides were identical. And there we go. That's what the bottom looked like. Similar. Like I said, it was bilateral, the pattern, and it was intricate on both sides, kind of tubular. I don't know. And then it was lifting up towards the ceiling, and then I noticed something pressing through my ceiling. And it wasn't perfectly square. It wasn't perfectly round. It was kind of this, what would that be? Obtuse? I don't know what that's called. Where it's almost a triangle, but flattened across the top and kind of goes out, but rounded off. There was a ship pressed through the top of my ceiling in my room. Let me see if I can, okay, there we go. And this thing went up in to that. During this particular occasion, remember I told you about the feeling like being drugged, like for anesthesia, that kind of drugged? That was one of these occasions. This was on the 30th of May. And I was like blinking and trying to get myself awake enough to make out what was going on. And that's what was there. Okay. I could not find anything on the net that resembled this. It almost reminded me of an old-fashioned teapot, kind of. I don't know. Or a man-o-war jellyfish, the shape. I don't know. Very weird. But the bottom side, this part, looked like that. Because it was lifting up and I could see the bottom of it. And it went in to something in my ceiling. And you know, like My Skies 5D, you know how what I talk about, the things pressing into the sky, the interdimensional stuff, that they can manipulate everything. And when you realize what this place is like and what it's made out of, we can manipulate it too. But these guys do it too. And they pressed right through my ceiling, just like the guys press right through the clouds and the chemtrail stuff in the sky. Interesting, right? But this was one of the instances where I was drugged, where some sort of anesthetic was used on me, much like anesthesia for surgery. Very much like, identical. All right. Then, not last night, the night before, I woke up. I don't know what time it was because I was in that drugged state. I have not drawn it. I'll describe it. It reminds me a lot of the bottom of this thing, the bottom side of it, but it was upright and facing me like this from this angle. This is what I saw. I was laying on my left side in the bed, and it was, I don't know, 2 or 3 feet from my face. And it was floating in this angle. It's really intricate. And it was another one of those instances where I felt like I was drugged. I don't know what time it was. It had to have been wee hours of the morning somewhere. Because that night I went to bed. Was that Friday night? I think that might, yeah, that was Friday night, right? Today's Sunday. Yeah, that was Friday night. So I didn't get to bed till like 1 in the morning or after. Anyway, wee hours in the morning, second time with this one, and very recent, 5:30, and then this past Friday. Okay, so May 30th, and again this past Friday. And very, very heavily drugged during this. Both times. So whatever this is, not good. Because anything that has to drug me to communicate or deal with me, there's an issue. At least in my book. What's interesting, the first time on the 30th, when I saw this, and I wish there were pictures on the internet of how, something that looks similar to that, but there wasn't anything. I saw, this is weird, this was a little later on, because I fell back to sleep, like they put me back under the anesthesia. It was kind of like waking up in the middle of a surgery and then going back under again and then waking up again. That's what happened that night on the 30th. Let's see. This one, this would have happened around 5 o'clock in the morning. That almost look like cat-like creatures. Almost, I don't know. They were all black with tiny, irregular, like white splotches all over. Very tiny, tiny, tiny white splotches. And that's the best way I could kind of depict it. Their size was about 5 to 6 inches. The face was about 5 to 6 inches across. These were small, just floating above my bed. About the same size as this thing was. Okay, not real big, pretty small. So about 5 to 6 inches across. Then this one started to disappear, and this one appeared just to the side and above it a little bit, and it looked identical to this one, but it was just larger. And I didn't finish drawing this because just imagine this one, but a little bit bigger. Okay, and I said approximately 8 to 9 inches on that one. This appeared when I'm laying in my bed. If I'm laying on my back, it would be the top right corner of my bed, just above. It was probably 3 to 4 feet above the bed, towards the head of the bed. So that's another thing. Let's see. See if I've got more stuff to show you guys. No, that's it. That's it. All right. So let me go ahead and close that. Close that. All right. So that's it. Now I'm going to pull up the chat room and see what questions you all had and comments and such during that. Okay. Scrolling back. All right. I think I'm getting there. And hi to anybody that's come in since I went into screen share, because I couldn't see anybody's comments during that. All right. Here we go. Okay. Okay, I found the part in the chat where Sir Next had asked me if I was a TI or not. It's like, oh yeah. Much more. TI plus. Let's see. Princess SO, she said, keep your magic simple. We are all sorcerers. Take your power back. And she's right about that. Just some people confuse the word sorcerer with bad, and they don't understand we're all creators. Sorcerer, creator, it's the same thing. And My Skies 5D said, yep, I agree. The targeted individual perpetrators are not aware that they're doing what they're doing. Okay. Oh, you were wondering if SO was a TI. Okay. If you have a lot of turmoil and negative things happening around you, you likely are. You know, some people think, oh, I just have bad luck. Well, that may not be the case. Question, are these little blues the so-called Arcturians? I don't know the answer to that. I don't know. I just know my sense about them. They never hurt me. They tried to show me their planet that had been destroyed. And I believe they are the same ones in the little Foo Fighter ships that have been jacking with the nuclear weapons. Could that be why the military is coming around? I don't know. Because they've been here to my house many times. And they did it right in front of my son. They did a massive display right outside my bedroom window. It was approximately 8 ships. They did a formation and started flashing super bright about 4 o'clock in the morning. And I called my son. I was like, and he was up because he's a night owl just like me. We tend to be night owls, just saying. And I yelled for him, get in here. And I didn't tell him what he was going to be looking at. I just said, go to the bedroom window now and look outside. And he got to see them. Foo Fighters, 8 of them, approximate. I didn't count, but it was a whole formation of them, flashing super bright, real fast. It was really cool. And then they split off and shot off in different directions. Some of them kind of hung around for a little while, and others just sped off and out of sight. Yeah, it's really cool. But I believe the little blue guys, that's them. I think those ships equate to them. Arcturian, I have no idea. Yeah, I know about Mendlesham. Or Rendlesham or whatever it's called. I do know about it over in the UK. That's an American base in the UK, right? Yeah, I know about that. Okay, scrolling down. You live about 50 miles from it, Sir Steve? Yeah. Okay, let's see. Sir Tony, isn't Dagon a Lovecraft myth? Question mark. Last week I was playing a game, Tesla versus Lovecraft. It was about Nikola Tesla versus the beings of the Cthulhu mythos, which contained the Dagon. They say it's a myth, but these are not a myth. It's kind of their way of throwing the truth out in your face without telling the truth. It's kind of some of their games. Kind of like their wonky contracts. They're deceivers. All right, here we go. Sir Steve, names of the God, the Most Holy One, in the order at the east, AL, EL, at the west, IH, Yah, YAH, at the south, AGLA, Agla, and at the north, ADNI, Adonai. Yes, I'm aware of that. But you also have to remember the name, the word Adonai means Lord. Could there be more than one? Possibly. Sir Steve, there seems to be many forces at work. Agreed. And my guys, the message they keep giving me, there's too many players on the field. That's exactly the words I get. Too many players on the field. So yes, there's many forces at work. Let's see. Yes, there's a book called King Solomon's Keys. Yes, I'm aware. Like I said, I studied theology and religion and all the religions and all the ancient text and all the mythology, myth, not a myth. Okay. Sir Steve, we can command them. Yes, I believe that Aleister Crowley tried to do just that. And so did, the Temple of Babylon. Who was he again? With the ring that was a key or whatever. Yeah. Let's see. Princess says Ganesha is dope. And I didn't sense anything bad from that being. Sir Steve, the fallen were once our brothers and sisters. Yeah, that's true. And just like we came to that profound knowledge that the ones that are like us that are here on this planet, the other TIs, the super soldiers, all of us, the Mandela affected people, all of us. When we came to the realization, because we know in our hearts that we're working for the good side, but we came to the realization that others just like us could be corrupted. And that made our heart literally sink. I was like, oh, no, 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 no. It didn't feel like that could be possible, but it is. Because I've seen them. I've seen others like us. And they're corrupted. I don't know what we do about that. I don't know if there's anything we can do about that. Okay. Miss Angel says, hey, I just went in Kelly in the Raw Patreon. She featured your video about her. Oh, that's awesome. I'm so glad she did. She is, I knew the minute I saw her, I knew she was one of us. I knew it instantly. And it's really weird. It's something I get this sense when I come into contact with ones like me. I know it instantly, and she's one. For sure, no doubt about it. That was instantaneous. And then her mouth started moving and she started talking about her experiences and things that have happened. I'm like, oh yeah, my sense was dead on. She definitely is. There's no doubt about it. Wow, that's awesome. She did that. I'm so impressed. She is an amazing person. I can't wait to get to know more about her and her path and what's happened to her. And when I watched the video where she showed the reptilians and the ones that showed up in her bedroom, I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah, she's been dealing with it too. And she's a TI. They've been targeting her. All of us are. We all have that genetic code, the MTHFR, and they're targeting us hard. Hard, hard, hard targeting. They're coming at us from every angle, 30 ways to Sunday. Not kidding. Not just gang stalking. It's above that. It's way above that pay grade. It's way up there. I'm still at work. I'm watching you on the other phone. I'm behind, but I got that email. Oh, good, 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 good. Good deal. That you would like to know. That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah. Yes, Lovecraft was in the Golden Dawn. That is correct. Princess pointed that out. That is correct. Plasma. Part of the problem with the video games is they are using very important terms like archons, etc., to make searching them more difficult. Often I search the subject and come up with a lot of gaming videos. It's very frustrating. See, I'm coming up against that too, like the band, the Foo Fighters. You know how much digging you have to do to get to the actual Foo Fighters, the Foo Fighters, the little tiny orb ships that first started showing up during World War II. And interestingly enough, when we started using nuclear weapons, and interestingly enough, also involved with jacking with and disarming and shooting down those very weapons. So you tell me, are they the good guys or are they the bad guys? I'd say they're the good guys in my book. And they show me their planet. Their planet was destroyed, likely by the same kind of weapons. And this planet has had nuclear weapons released eons ago, eons and eons ago. You look back at archaeology, anthropology, the sands in the desert. Where was that? Is that out in India? Trying to remember. It's near Iran, Iraq area somewhere. There's sand that was turned to glass, and they said the only thing that could do that, there was only a couple of things, and the only thing that made sense because of where the area that was covered was because someone released weapons on this planet before. It's not the first time. And other planets have been completely destroyed by them. Completely. So anyway, so that's what, who summoned you, huh? Oh, Princess says, like with Wrath mythology, keep getting search results for Rolls-Royce Wrath car instead. Yep. Stuff gets buried, right? Very much so. Aw, Sir Tony, your internet got cut out. It happens. Technology is what it is. Yes, the Libya. Yeah, the glass out in the desert there. Yes, exactly. Jackpot. People have done research and videos on that. It's fascinating if you look it up. There's a lot going on with that. Oh, you have to rewatch it. I'm sorry. Anyway, so I covered the beings I've had contact with. I'm pretty sure I got all of them. I hope so. That's all that I can think of anyway. I mean, every once in a while I'll do a video and I'll go, oh, dang, I forgot about that, you know? It's just when you have as much going on as I do, it gets lost in the shuffle, much like that documentation I did on that prophetic dream vision or whatever it was back in 2016. I'm so glad I wrote that down and refound it again. That was uncanny because I was looking for that picture of the little blue guys when I ran across it. I was like, oh, I'm going to read this too for sure because it really belongs in that video. Anyway, anybody have any other questions or anything like that for me? I'll wait for a few seconds because I know it takes a while for everything to sync and catch up. You're snuggled in my 3 wolf moon blanket. Oh, yeah. Sounds cozy. Well, if you guys do end up having any questions or anything like that, make sure you put them in the comments below. Remind you, yeah, yeah, you asked me that before, and I think your internet got messed up, so you didn't hear my response. But I don't know if they're Arcturians. I don't know what they're called, the little blue guys. I just know they've been known as the Foo Fighters. They did not tell me. If they did, like I said, my telepathy wasn't very well honed at the time. And if they told me what they were, I didn't get it. I just got the sense that they were showing me their home planet and it was destroyed. And you just, those same Foo Fighters messing with the nuclear weapons and things like that. And you just start adding things up and it just makes sense. Think about, I mean, I look at Mars and how it's completely wiped out and it used to be like this planet. And Sir Steve feels a very, very strong connection with that planet. I ran into others that do as well. I can't help but think that that's what happened to Mars, is it got blasted. So, does anyone in my family support my understanding? I don't tell them everything. There's a couple of family members that know portions, but what you guys know is much more than what my family knows. I've told them before certain strategic things, and it's just like the amnesia is so heavy that they're just not getting it. And I think the virus is using them kind of as yeah, fun stuff, a handler, controller, whatever, to traumatize or try to. And it kind of works sort of with them, but I've learned to develop a thick skin over that and remember that they probably aren't aware of what they're doing. Because like I said, my daughter's had experience with the little blue guys. My son's seen the orb ships. You know, they've had experiences. So for them to act like I've lost my rocker or something, it hurt at first, and now I see it for what it is. So, I mean, what are you going to do? I just keep thinking to myself, eventually they'll wake up. But they're dealing with them is much harder because I think they're going after them too. Because I know my son has abilities. He was talking to whom he thought was his grandmother after she passed. when he was little, when he was a kid. He was what? He would have been 6 or 7, or maybe 8, right in there. So he has abilities. I know he does. He's in heavy denial, plus other things. But anyway, I'll go ahead and wrap up. I'm getting tired. I'm going to relax and watch some videos and see what Miss Kelly's up to. and others, of course. But make sure you look at that. Just a reminder, under my videos, Christian Truth can help you with your MTHFR stuff. A link to her channels down there. Look at the 30A when that webcam is in, and when it's nighttime at that webcam, and let yourself kind of unfocus a little bit while you look at it. Look at My Skies 5D, and you'll see the same thing, but it's in the sky. Who else? Look at that David Icke lecture that I linked under the last video. If you're totally unaware of what's going on, or even got a tiny inkling, and it's a good starting point. And I can't think of anything else right offhand. If I think of it, I'll add it to the next video. Anyway, and if you do think of any questions, I'll put those on the next video too, okay? I think I'm going to do the next video on my abilities, specifically talking about those, so that others are aware that, you know, they may have similar or different ones. It'll be interesting to hear what everybody's doing and what they've noticed in their own abilities. But in the meantime, I hope you have a lovely Sunday evening, a great week ahead. Remember, we are far, 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 far more powerful than they are. Remember, no fear, zero fear. Because they feed off of it, first of all. You don't want to be feeding them. So no fear, because you are my favorite sign. You are infinity. Okay? That symbol, I didn't know why it attracted me and got my attention so much over the years, but now I know why. It's a good one. Anyway, love you guys from here past the holodeck. Way, way, way past and back. I hope you guys have a really good night. And I'll do a stream soon, probably not tomorrow, but likely Tuesday or maybe Wednesday. I don't know. I'll try to give you guys some heads up, hopefully. Anyway, talk to you soon. Bye.